Good morning. Happy day to you, my friends. My name is Jay Song. Everything in today's video is never financial investment or trading advice of any kind. Everything is just for entertainment, educational, and comedic purposes only. I ate red crayons for breakfast. Trading in the markets carries substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose, and especially be aware against high leverage trading. Past performance is never indicative of future performance. Trading carries substantial risk. All right, now we're going to look at something called USTC, and this is the only chart I seem to have on USTC. It's USTC USDT, and we will clear up this chart. All right. So USTC was a crypto that was once what we know as a stable coin. All right. And a stable coin is a coin that's basically trading one for one with the dollar. So here's a dollar, and some signs that this crypto was coming down to 98 cents, and then after a while it started trading around 99 cents, and then it fell to around 99, and then just hovering right there under that 99 cents. People are wondering, why is it not going back to a dollar? And there are some cryptos, some stable coins that also have lost their peg to a dollar. And for the most part, we're just trying to stay around a dollar, and that's the most important point for a stable coin. They're trying to say we have in assets prices equal to a dollar things. But when there's manipulation on the underlying currency, then what happens? Here we go. When there's manipulation on the underlying currency, then things can go awry. And it was said that this crypto the stable coin itself was in danger of falling. For the first day, its price fell during that big crash on May 8th of 2022. It fell to about right here and came right back up to 99.77. The next day we got our first solid close to 98 cents. Right after 98 cents, people knew something was very wrong, and the very next day after that, we came back up to 98, almost trying to be at 99, just like we were last time, but we could not, and it fell. And it fell all the way that day to 90 with a low pretty far down, 65 cents. It came all the way back to 90 cents, and everybody thought, wow, that's great, we're going to recover. But things were already, why is a stable coin not being stable? And then it fell all the way down to 22 cents that day, came back up 55. Then the next day went and shot back up again all the way to here, only 87. And then we came down again, and that was the story of this stablecoin. For several days it repeated this pattern of coming up and coming down until finally we hit a low of all the way in May 13th of around 3 cents. After that, in June, we hit a final lowest point of June 19 of around 0.006 cents. So we hit a nickel around 5 cents here average, and then we come down way below even a nickel to 0.05. Things are really wrong for this stablecoin. When that happened, Luna Classic crashed because it was one of the major coins that propped up and held up Luna Classic. And Luna Classic was once trading, I think it was close to $300 and around $180. We'll confirm that just a little bit after this, but it's something that we always can learn from history. One of the lessons we learn from looking at USTC is we can learn that stablecoins are not always stable. Imagine if Tether happens to Tether. It is a type of manipulation to mess with the underlying assets, but if the foundation's wrong in the first place, then everything's bad. It is said that if Tether itself, which is USDT, we track Tether's dominance in the USDT.D chart, but if that ever lost its power, then you would probably see the entire crypto market crash. I'm always on high alert in June, especially June to July, from June 27th to July 27th, based on dreams that I had several years ago. But it's just one thing to always remember, that this could happen. Now, it doesn't look so bad from my standpoint, but if we turn on the standard charts that everybody uses under regular, you can just see how it's been in the dumps ever since. Now, to fix and alleviate this, to see, is there a time when this would recover? If it recovers, what would happen to Luna Classic? Personally, I believe Luna Classic would receive a lot of its power again. But one of the ways we can do is to try to find in this chart's health. So we're going to come back down to the lower right hand corner and make sure that our regular is turned off and our logarithmic is on instead. So we're just going to click on logarithmic and the chart will come back to normal. Alright. From here we started examining a few points. I think this was our analysis of it back in the day. We saw some resistances here based on the core areas, so we're going to be watching that angle. We draw the angle on the bottom, which is the same angle, but it's now what we know as the phantom, so we can start seeing where a potential bottom is. We started looking at the wick area just in case we needed to account for that wick side. We also were looking at the larger energy centers that are at play. In this case, we have these. One of them's a round structure, one of them's this, and we saw our first weakness start appearing right here underneath this area. That's when prices started showing signs of weakness. We come up, hit the resistance, and come down. But before we came down, we hit another weakness, which was going to be here. And that weakness here, we have even drawn for you guys in our previous map. This weakness is based on another energy center that is here. Now, if we're just marking these areas as energy centers, let's use our standard energy center color if we're just marking them. So our first line that we would have drawn was this one, which we did. The second one is this one in blue. Okay, so weakness number 1, we should come down. Weakness number 2, we should come down. We come down, the prices are given. These are the prices around 006 and 007, and that's where we found support approximately. I want to see if I have an older copy of this chart, USTC. Okay, and I'll pull up my images right now. And yep, there it is. So here I have an old image from October 2022, and this is how you guys can use our charts to your advantage. This is how you can use it. In October 2022, we were looking at the support here. This is an old previous map. Weakness has appeared. I'm looking for prices to go 2.0021. We'll be looking for the next behavior along that track. 02, here's a 0.001, and then a conservative area closer to 0.21 is somewhere about right here in this area. So here's from October of 2022. All right. Now let's see if I have another. I think I have another from this era. Yep, there's the other. That's in June of 2023. Here's another chart from June 3rd, 2023. Okay, possible negative in August. This is the zone we want to be in. We want to be above this angle right here, above that opening track, so we can have some health. Otherwise, we're still on our way down, possibly looking again at 0.0064. So these are some of the parts of the map that we were looking at. We're looking at possible hidden battler to come back up into this area. And I just want to see how well I'm doing. That was from June of 2023. And then I think that was all I really wanted to see. Here's a look from July of 2022 as well. Man, I've been tracking this for a long time. July 14th of 2022. So we were looking for prices to hit closer to 0.1. So all of this seems to have happened and been fulfilled pretty good. weakness has been shown on this chart. Now I want to continue out some of these lines, but let's be a little bit more accurate this time. We were using a daily chart. Now we have much more data over the years. I haven't looked at this in several years, so let's try to see if we can use this as a little bit of a template to expound basically where we're on. Let's put some of those old areas on here, but first we're going to go to a weekly chart view, and we're going to try to simplify some of these areas. The first area we're going to simplify is our old flat. I want to put that back on the board on this new chart. I didn't have this flat. Okay, our flats are as a blue line, so that should be about that area. Good. We're going to be watching that area just in case. I'll give you guys a good tip on how we can get a good idea if we're going to be coming down to this area. But let's put it right about the core area here, and that's about where it should go. Okay. The next area we're going to do is we're going to look at this core cluster here, and we have in our lessons page. And I'll pull it up right now off to the side so you guys can have a good idea. There is a lesson we have called Core Cluster. In our search on our website, in our recent post, we're going to type in the word lessons. Not lesson, but lessons. And then what we're going to do from there is we're going to load our main lessons page. This is it right here. Lessons 1 through 16, and we're going to click on Show More. One of the lessons that you're going to find is a lesson in our 6.0 session called Core Cluster, lesson number 6. If you click on that video, it will teach you how to do this analysis called Core Cluster. Core Cluster is a method where we try to identify a more proper energy center. If I'm only looking at one chart, I'm only going to understand things from that one perspective. Like we were speaking today earlier in reading the Word of God, we want to try to give ourselves a stronger, well-rounded perspective. And especially when it comes to the book of Revelation. And instead of trying to put everything in one bottle, we try to just take it for what it is and see and glean the possible meanings and interpretations, especially if the meanings are spread out or the interpretations are spread out. The story may not be linear or back and maybe showing different parts. Daniel really cried in the Bible. He cried when God showed him visions. And God says, don't worry, this is for a time. This is not even for your lifetime. It's for a time to come in the future. And it's going to be sealed up. And he was telling him different things like this regarding the visions that Daniel saw in the book of Daniel. He was trying to fit it all in his lifetime and in his perspective, and he was really confounded because he's like, I don't understand this and I don't understand this. If we read it all just in one prophecy, we try to fit the whole book of Daniel in just one little move. Even he did that. But what God was showing him was things that were various parts and pieces of the future. Some were to come in a more his lifetime, some were to come for a lifetime that wasn't his. And we do that with maybe John's revelation as well. As John is seeing the visions of all of these things referring in the book of Revelation, we fit it all in one category. With charts, it's often good we take the principle of trying to get multiple perspective, seeing the law of duality, trying to see things from various perspectives, and then coming to the conclusion. It helps you understand that we're not locked all into one little piece. It helps us to stay wise. I read a quote yesterday, or a friend told me this quote. He said, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but a jack of all trades is often better than a master of one. And that was a quote from William Shakespeare. Shakespeare, to be or not to be? Melody's looking at me. She's like, I don't know about Shakespeare. I'm sure our audience knows. And the reason he said that is because most people, when they quote the quote, what they do is they stop right there at the beginning. They just say, oh, a jack of all trades is a master of none. Okay. But it's often better. Nobody continues the quote out. But if you listen to the full quote, it says, but a jack of all trades is better than a master of one. Instead of being an expert in just one type of analysis, learn a little bit about all the analysis. It's going to make you well-rounded as a person. Learn a little bit about everything. It's going to make you well-rounded as a chartist, as a technical analyst. It's going to make you better at seeing things And even if you're not an expert at all of it, you're going to glean a lot. Okay? All right. So anyway, that's enough of my life teachings. I use charts to teach a lot of life lessons, as you can see. So in our core cluster technique, if I were to mark the points, it'd be here and here. However, when I draw those areas, if I go to a higher time frame, such as a 2-day chart or a 1-week chart, you're going to notice that the areas start changing. This area now changes to this area down here. And this area changes to this area slightly down here. This area stays the same. Then I go to a 1-week chart, which is the higher time frame. And you're going to notice now this area changes to this area. This one stays the same. This one comes down. So we can start seeing things we didn't see before by using the core cluster technique. In our core cluster technique, we mark these with our price labels, and we can see that the prices sometimes have a great disparity as we place the price notes. The higher we look, the more we can see, the higher time frame we look, the more we can see another story unfolding. Sometimes we see the same angle, and sometimes we see a very different angle. Sometimes we see a flat where we only saw angles before. And it helps us start understanding what type of energy center we should be looking at. In all cases, it's better to draw all stories rather than just the one. And the higher time frames, we'll draw this as a flat. We can even write the time frame on the flat box itself by labeling it high level core because it's a higher time frame. And we're going to put dot weekly. Okay, so we know we're looking at weekly chart. It's a flat. If I go back down to now the daily chart, I will not be able to see any flat there. I will see the angle. I'll be like, wow, that's not a flat. That's not right. That's not, only this one is about right. No, it's right. Core cluster technique helps us see things from a perspective we would not have saw before. And I hope it helps you open your eyes, or at least stay unbiased for yourself. With this flat, we can use this to identify other areas of resistance in the future, such as here in November of 2023. Am I teaching you something here? Am I teaching you something? You can use these techniques that we teach on our lessons page with any crypto you want. I'm not exactly giving you gold, but I'm teaching you how to fish. If you learn how to understand the flow of price, you can apply it to whatever you want to understand. My goal, I often used to say in the first year, is to teach people how to read, not to trade for them, but to teach them how to read. If you can understand how to read, then you can read whatever book you want in the library, whatever your goals are. Okay? All right. This is an example of core cluster technique. I don't have to write core cluster, but I could leave CC just to let me know that I did my homework regarding core cluster. Okay? I will probably put this example in my manuscript because I like this example so much. All right. You're saying, Jay-Song, that was old. You don't understand. We use historical data to find future events. So then understand. USTC example, a perfect example of core cluster technique or core cluster analysis. I'll put the date. See June 17th video. What's today? Is it 18th, Melody?
Yes.
It's the 18th. Okay. And let me move on, but let me fix this first, guys. All right. Okay. Now, the next things we're going to do, let's take a look at some of these weaknesses. Of this angle, where was the sword cut? Somebody draw it on my screen, please. Draw me the sword cut if you can. I would love somebody to draw me the sword cut. We're going to draw the sword cut for our first angle here in white. And then we're going to draw our second sword cut angle here. Can somebody draw it for me? And yes, CJ will look at GALA, and Bridget will look at ZBCN. Okay, but Wednesday's our day where we slow things down to do tutorial. So let's see if we can glean some things from here. Okay, good job, Bridget. The area where we're looking for, we got the energy centers. Let's do this together, okay? It's very simple. We already have our energy centers on the board in yellow. So the first place where we cut and the weakness appears, and that's where we draw our sword cut. And we draw our sword cuts as a flat line. In the opening days, we see rejections here and here, but then later on we see price bouncing on that sword cut. Weak bounces, weak resistances. This doesn't have power or strong power. Okay, it didn't have strong power to bring us down. It didn't have strong power to bring us up. Okay, so this was a weak sword cut. The next sword cut should be a little higher than the blue, but it's the same exact angle, and so I will use this blue color. Okay, there's our angle. Here's going to be our break, and our sword cut needs to be a flat line there. So that's where our next sword cut range will be, approximately in that range. So this is how we can use sword cuts to our advantage to start locating important areas. Let's draw this a little bit more. We're going to move this in place, and again it's approximately here. Does this help? Okay, does this help? I'm showing you guys the secrets on how to start finding areas you would never have thought to find on a previous chart. Okay. All right, let's continue. We had big rejection. All right, if flats are working here, and this is the proper trade, if this is a flat, and where we want to find where the second area is, whether it's giving us, we want to find if there's more confirmation we're coming down here, or maybe we're going somewhere up here at a possible other flat area. Let's go to the higher time frame, like a weekly chart, and draw some core cluster areas. Here we can see that the foundational area from May 2023 to October 2023 is a flat area. Is it not? Is it not? Look. Would you agree? We got wicks into all these areas, but the cores are all still in this grouping. We're going to use volume to see if it gives us any clues we're actually going to be coming down to this price. It'd be nice to know that, right? If you have a lot of money stored in this stable coin. The other thing we're going to look for is any other confirmations of flats. Now, if flats are working, we can use flats on their own for just their analysis. If flats are working, continue using flats, and we use flats in the reverberation. We have a lessons on our lessons page called, in lesson number 12, Key Reverberations Analysis. When we find the key angle or key angles, we can keep duplicating those angles at all relevant minor energy centers, not the bigger energy centers like the outer ones, but the ones that are in between, such as here at 0019. So basically what I can do is I can take a flat line and echo it everywhere. Let me take a little blue line, and I'm going to make it white and flat. For right now, I'm going to make it a size 4 thickness, and we'll put it at these energy centers, and we're looking for prices to respond. This doesn't always work. It only works when you have a key angle that is active, that's correct. So if you've done your homework and you're like, okay, flats are working, then continue using flats. Okay? That's an example of key angle reverberation. If you wanted to label it, you could. We take the smaller energy centers and we click, and you can give it a label KR. But you don't have to. We can do one here. We can do one at the, let's see, here's another one we want to put it at. In either case, we're seeing more signs of weakness. I'm going to draw just a few more important lines on here. This one's super easy. Let's draw some more energy centers that are relevant, and we'll move on to another crypto. Let's draw just a few more things. We have some now round structures that are appearing here. So let's add those together. What should we draw approximately here if our angle is upward like this? What should we draw in that case? What might we be forgetting to draw? Okay. The answer is sword cut. We should be looking to draw a sword cut again. A sword cut is a type of flat line at the break. We'll pay attention to that area. Maybe it's already been hit, but we'll put it on the board for you in just a moment. Okay. In other words, and then later on, if we're trying to put this all in context, we might be viewing that as a weakness. Under here would be another weakness, and then underneath would be another weakness. If we're going to get a bounce, it's supposed to happen along this track. If we're going to get a bounce, it needs to happen along this track. If it doesn't, and we come down, that's a sign of weakness. So that's why we're going to put these markers like this. We were supposed to bounce here, but instead we moved into weakness here. So that lets us know that we're more likely going to be going down to our next supports. If flats are active, we're going to be looking at flats, and so forth and so on. So now we can glean a few important areas. So let's glean those areas right now. And then we're almost done. We're going to glean, we're going to put, oh, it's pretty good. Okay, we're going to glean just a little more, just skimming through the data. We're going to put some numbers for you to help you navigate this crypto, looking for the health and looking for the weakness, so we can understand as this falls, if it's affecting Luna Classic, we want to understand what's happening with this crypto. If I'm trading, if I'm getting some closes below 0.1 next, then things are going bad for me, for Luna, for USTC, more likely. If prices are trading below 0.07, things are going bad for me. Okay. I'm now going to connect this area here, and I think it's more involved and more of a problem than we would probably want to admit. I'm going to now increase the sword cut range based on some of these wicks matching. This is new for you, okay? If we are now taking these two strong round structures and we combine them with the meaty core here, we can actually see that the cores along that track are in alignment with the move back in July of 2022. We also see that the wicks are matching the same angle that we drew. They're matching approximately. So therefore I want to stretch, I want to be aware that the weakness is actually really between a range maybe about that thick. So we're going to stretch out the sword cut. So it needs to be thick. And that's going to give us a price range, and we can put in that range if we wanted to. It's going to be around 0.18 to around 1.6, somewhere around there. We'll write it down in a little bit. That means that if we come up here, we're going to really still be looking for this to be more strong. The sword cut's probably going to be more strong. This area is a very strong weakness, therefore. In its entirety, this is not right. Okay? More likely, this is a negative area for us to be because of price trading in this area. So I'm going to make this, highlight this for you guys on this image. Let's use a big crayon. Okay, good. Okay, just highlighting this, and I'm going to add this text, and I'm going to say on this area of USTC appears to be a important weakness. I would not look for USTC to recover soon. Okay, because of this, it's letting us know USTC is not going to recover soon. Therefore, I would not be looking for Luna Classic to go to the moon anytime soon as well. If this is needed. USTC should show signs of health before moving up. Okay, it should be showing signs of health, and I'm going to show you where the health is, although I'm sure you guys can find it. I'm going to put these commentaries, Song, June 18th, 2025. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that. Okay, this is where there probably is going to be a health that will reveal itself. We're going to move this up to this track up here. If we can get health above this area, things are going to be going better and smoother for this. For USTC, it needs to be going above 0.01 dynamic negative. Okay, that means as time goes on, that number is going to go lower until it becomes a really low number. But for right now, in the ensuing weeks, somewhere around 0.2 cents. Somewhere around, 0.0 cents. All right, I think that's all I want to show for you right now for this crypto. I hope it helps. Let's go on to something important, something else. Okay? Take your last screenshot, and I will also copy and paste those notes directly into this chart from this. Okay. GALA, CJ wants to look at GALA, and Bridget wanted to look at ZBCN. Okay, and I think that's all we're going to do for today. And we've been doing pretty good at tracking USDT, huh? Yeah, I like it. Okay, I'm copying my own commentary real quick, and I'm going to put it on my chart. Paste it. I said paste it. Hold on, guys. I don't want to just have it on that image. I want to pull it up next time I pull up the chart. I want to be able to see it. Copy. Paste. There it goes. Okay. Let's go to Luna Classic. Now, speaking of USTC, we're going to look at Luna Classic. See what we got for this chart. Triple J previous, let's see, a long time ago, I wasn't heard in Luna's not going anywhere. In March, Luna Classic not going anywhere. Too many disturbance and disruption in the community. Not the first time he spoke to him. Triple J had said some comments about this not doing anything just yet. It looks similar where there's weaknesses that have appeared here. I do have a lower leveled out parabolic somewhere in these lower numbers based on this curvature, the sword cut and the actual curvature, and it levels out somewhere here. Now I've left it as a highlighter, but it's been somewhere about right this area. And I've had this curve for quite some time. It looks like we hit that area back in February, and then we also hit it somewhere in August. I think that's where we're going to level out, maybe about right there. Yep. Okay. I'll give you some prices for this, 0.0048, otherwise to 0.000045. Good bottom for you. I'm going to look at the volume currently. What I want to see for this area is I want to see the volume increase to let me know at this third point we're going down. So I'm going to take a screenshot real quick, and I'm going to show you, as I hide my lines, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Hide our drawings, and we're going to look at the micro relational volume. Okay. it looks like this. This is our micro VSA. When we do micro VSA, we're going to be thinking relational. And that means we're going to be taking our energy centers and we're going to read them in relation to each other. Okay? We want to see if the volume is increasing at these points, we're going to be looking for this to come down. If the volume is absorbing, we're going to be looking more for the health to appear. If the volume is absorbing. If it's increasing, that means it's not absorbing. So one will give us either an increase or a decrease. And we'll have to view which one it is, okay? This scenario right here would tell us we are not absorbing. The goal of the game is if supply is absorbing, we're going to be looking for the reversal. If it's not resorbing, we don't have any incentive to stay at these areas or to go up at the moment because it gets expensive for the market manipulators. If we're seeing the increase in volume, that means we're more with the supply is not being absorbed at this area, so we're looking to come down. So let's take a look and see if that's the case. And our lesson, by the way, our lessons page about this is going to be found, here's not in macro, but it's going to be found at the bottom, should be in the bonus section. Here's Tiger and volume tutorial, there's one here, and then our, hey, where's all the bonuses? Oh, this is all the bonuses, yep, here. Event line, bonus volume tutorials, right there, okay? Episode, April 7th episode. Okay, there's one there, and then there's part 2 of that video, and you can use that. And here's another one we do volume, Tiger and volume, June 9th. So let's look at the volume. From point area 1 to point area 2, we are increasing the volume. And then point area to 3, 1, 2, 3. Helps if you have a ruler. Alright, in area number 3, we do have some high volume, but then we challenge this area again, and the volume seems to be very low and being absorbed. So this is a good sign that the volume is decreasing. I'm going to put some commentary here now, and I'm going to say June 18th, 2025. It appears that the volume is showing that the supply is being absorbed at the support area. This helps me to stay optimistic for Luna Classic. However, health is still needed. In addition, okay, I should say, however, one important observation is that with VSA, when looking for absorption of supply, one must also observe initial accumulation, which is buying in a particular area. This chart does not show the buying coming in at this support area. This is cause for, this means I would not place too much weight on the VSA micro analysis just yet. Okay, and I'll explain what that means. So the support area, if we're drawing flat or looking for at the volume zone block, it's going to be here. Okay, I could say, yeah, the support, it's absorbed. We're decreasing. We're coming down. All right, that's great. That's great. Problem, there was no initial buying in the first place. And that's going to be really critical. I will show you how that looks. On the down moves, in the down bars, we should see a strong increase in volume at these areas. We do not. On the down moves, in the down bars, or in this area, we should see a strong volume into health. We got one move into health, but it's a very short health. And then here's your weakness. So a very small move into health, and then more weakness. This move came into health, but not really major buying came in. The buying, the volume, the strong volume, all of that was after the fact. And that's maybe something I need to see. Let me just double check. You know, there's that volume here. Right there for that day. Mostly after the fact. But professional accumulation usually is on the down move before the move. We do have really high volume here, and here, that's selling. The move is down and to the right and into weakness. We know all about that. Same as this one right here. That's selling as well. Okay? Into weakness. So, where's the real big buying coming in? Maybe just that. That's some buying. That's a good... But that's it. Where's the buying now? So, generally when we see that supplies have absorbed, we like to have buying in the background. Okay, does that make sense? We like to have buying in the background. But if this doesn't have buying in the background, this chart does not show buying coming in the support area. This means I would not place too much weight on the VSA micro analysis just yet. Okay, in other words, there is no strong buying in the background. Strong professional buying. And I think others would agree with me. Something we want to look for. It's, yeah, that's what we looked for, but it has to be in context. And I don't see this in context. Okay. Alright. That's all I wanted to say about this one. Okay, any other questions regarding Luna Classic? What I want to say right now. Okay, let me put this back on my list. Okay, I'm not going to be looking for this to really pop up therefore. I'm going to be adjusting our watch line. It's a very low move into health based on this previous watch line. We barely got a very weak bounce before that came back into weakness. Let me show it to you on a 2-day or 1-day chart. Okay, this doesn't appear to be very strong at the moment. Very weak bounce. Very weak move before the weakness, before the main weakness came back in. So there's not a lot of momentum for the positive side. In other words, I'm just going to be looking for Luna Classic to continue moving down at this time. And if I was going to read any more volume, I'd want to read it just in this singular move down here. This one has my cake. I'm going to be looking, the lower prices have my cake. So I'm going to be looking for prices to fall there. Okay. Let me shorten up this move and put it on a single chart so you guys can have it. If you have a question now, unmute your microphone. Otherwise, that's it. I'm going to be looking for this to come down. Okay, I'm going to move on to another crypto. Hope you guys are having fun watching me do this. I know it's early. For some of you people in the United States, other countries, it's probably quite late in the day. Let's look at jam. I got 2 requests this week for jam. 4, if you count my son and my wife, who we made some toast without any jam. So they were like, "What's going on? Where's the jam?" 5, if you count my brother, who was wanting to play some music with me, and I told him I was busy. Come on, that's a funny joke. Thank you, Bridget. Thank you. Okay, GeoJam. Alright. There it is. GeoJam. KuCoin. Let's pull it up on KuCoin. That'll be good enough for me. Alright. I'm going to go to a weekly chart. Ooh. A lot of launch coin woes. Came up really high to $1 and then came right back down to 1 cent. Gosh. Imagine you buy it and then it goes to $1. You're like, woo! Or you buy it up here. It got traded all up there and then it came right back down. Alright. So the volume's after the fact and short-lived with the high volume up here. So if there was any buying, it looks like there was equal selling. Approximately in these two areas here on the highs. So if I was just reading the volume, just real quick. The health came in here. And then the buying came in. Maybe that's some pushing volume to keep it on purpose, but generally we like to see some accumulation in the background, and it's very weak accumulation. So not strong. I shouldn't say weak, but it's not strong. How about that? And then our big high volume bars is going to be on this move and that move. So even if this was buying, then it's being sold here. This is selling. And this is selling. And this is also selling. And the move is into weakness. So I'm not going to put a lot of weight on this volume here. That's basically cancels each other out. So that's going to be that part. So I'll type in this volume will cancel each other out, in my opinion. And remember, this is never financial investment or trading advice of any kind. Okay. So if it's buying, they basically, there was more selling. Okay, so let's now go on a little bit further. If this was buying here, why did we only come up to the right and down even more weakness? I don't trust that this was buying or very strong buying at all. This area may have been a type of pushing volume based on some of the flat stuff possibly going on, and I'll show you why. If I look at this area here, it's very likely we're dealing with the makings of a flat. Okay, so this is where we would have taken our key angle and brought it down to the lower side. So everybody up until this point is looking for this to be a flat. So therefore, this high volume going into this area, specifically right here, where the next weakness came in, was most likely, does anybody know the answer what I would call this volume, as we had high volume into this down area here? Anybody know what I might call that in our art sword method? What do we call this? See if you guys know the answer. Pushing. That's right, Bridget. It's pushing volume. That's right. Absolutely right. Praise God. Pushing volume. Okay. So that's where we like to see big weakness. So that means this down move is on purpose. Okay. This down move is where we're supposed to be. If we're going to try to calculate where we might be going next, we're going to track a few things. Let's take the angle and look for this to be a bounce, and then we're going to make a few analysis based on what we can see here. So let's draw that angle. What type of trend are we in? Up or downtrend? Uptrend or downtrend? Downtrend. What do we do? How do we make money in a downtrend? Hunt the up move. That's right. We hunt the up move. To be successful with a move like this, 2 week chart. Okay. 2 week phantom. To be successful, we have to simply hunt the up moves and either exit or short if possible. And one of the things that we can see is that since we're in a downtrend, we only want to hunt those up moves if possible. There would be a trade. And the next one, therefore, is going to be a trade that hasn't given us an entry yet. If we're in this crypto, we may want to hold on a little bit longer until the weaknesses appear. But we can track those weaknesses already in advance by simply drawing our weakness markers and moving them up along the track and giving them a price if you want to. Currently, the price that they need to be cracking below is 0.0001 dynamic positive. Okay, that means that number is going to rise as we go over time. Maybe something like that. Let's draw a watch line for the bottom side. Let's make it dotted. Okay. I'm going to put 2-day chart. How about that? Watch line. 2-day chart, watch line. These are just some keywords to help you understand what it is I'm doing, how I created these lines so you can recreate them. I wouldn't put too much weight on this chart right now in this weakness area. In addition to that, I'm going to draw any more immediate weaknesses that may come back in play. And right now, this is how I see it. It's very likely this is still in play, which means this is quite a bit of a dangerous area. Let's give this a green color. And let's make this straight. Ooh, not good, guys. Not good. 2-day. Let's put it in the center top. Let's put it on the left. 2-day angle. This is not good. The foundational area is holding very strong. And this will be our phantom on the wick side. I'm going to give you some lower prices. Not good for people who want GM, unfortunately. This is going to be a dynamic negative. 0.00005. If you can get away with it coming lower, you might see it drop 200%. That's not good. 200% drop to the nearest support. And that's just if we fall today. If it falls later on in the year, it's going to be even bigger. Yeah, dangerous. But we're not in the next weakness just yet. Again, that weakness is going to be appearing underneath here. Okay, underneath that watch line. If that happens, then we go. Otherwise, we still have hope. You still have hope. But it ain't looking so good from where I'm looking at. The foundational area is very strong still. Look at these energy centers. And this is holding out quite nice. And that's where we're at today. We're at a top. So I would caution anyone who's trying to buy this right now. Caution. This top is holding. Let's add some commentary. This top, based on the foundational area shown in the upper green line, is still holding, and price is there now and still responding. Since this entire area is in a weakness zone, I would be cautious buying jam at the moment. It's better to go with peanut butter. This crypto may be at a strong resistance area. Look for price closes under 0.00013 to confirm the next weaknesses. Not weaknesses. Okay. So why is everybody excited about this one? What's going on about this crypto? Can somebody tell me? Does anybody know? Nobody? Why was I getting so many requests for this one? I think sometimes when stuff goes up really in a short time, people really think highly of it. But we got to read it in context. But I don't know any more than that about this crypto. No idea, Cesarman? Okay. If anybody knows why, let me know. But maybe it has something to do with the smaller trading going on. Let me take a look. Yeah, that's probably why. Right here, this move. Look at the move. 126% just that move right here. But we got to read it in context. So that's what I think. Probably if you look on some of these maybe major platforms, it's going to be like conversation. People are going to be like, oh, it moved over 100% in 2 days. Yeah, but look what it's been doing over the past, since what? May. So let's read it in context and use a little more caution. All right? All right. All right, let's move on. We got some more cryptos. Let's go to... So we looked at USTC, Luna Classic, Jam. Let's look at our final two cryptos, and I'll be out of your hair. Let's go to GALA. I like GALA. I think it's going to do well one day. Let's take a look and see what season or area it might be in. Okay, I think we were identifying this. We identified a key angle. We identified mid-phantom. Therefore, we took our mid-phantom transformation. We found out our upper resistance areas, even our upper targets if we needed to come up there. But ultimately, we're using this right now for the bottom, okay? Because that's the area we're in. The bottom we had was 0.008. Right now, we are denoting this track. We're watching this track with great caution, optimistically, to find a good price for GALA. We have last identified weakness in this chart. This is going to be dynamic positive or dynamic negative. Which one is this angle right here? 0.008. This number, is this dynamic positive or negative? Just a simple test, real quick. Quiz time. Negative. It is negative. And the way we can denote it is by clicking on the chart. Not that one. Click on the number, and under the text we can put this symbol. You can put it in white or yellow, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna put the angle. I'm gonna put just the minus sign, and I'm gonna make it bold, and we're gonna make it about a size 20 for me. And I'm gonna click OK. Now this, we can put the text in the middle if we want to, and it's just gonna let us know what type of number we're looking at. So if I see that negative symbol, that means I'm looking for something to be negative. Now make it even bigger. Okay, there we go. So this is a dynamic negative, and all that means, if you guys are new to our community, is that just that number goes down over time. So if it hits it just like in September of this year, we're looking at close to 74 cents. We can actually predict the number of support with a high degree of probability based on the angle. So that's why we don't care about the price. The price will always change based on the angle. We care about the angle, getting close to the correct angle. So if price were to fall tomorrow, the exact number for tomorrow would possibly be around 0079, and again in September 0074. So that number will keep going down over time. That's why we call it dynamic negative. It's still moving, fluid, that. So if prices were to fall, we get close to the ballpark of what prices we're looking for as on sale, or at least a better price than what we're paying. Okay, somewhere around there. I don't need to circle it, but I may want to put stars like at the bottom so we can start seeing this range. How about that to help me denote this? Okay. My purpose when we're doing this is to train your eyes more and more to see what things you should be looking for when examining data. Like a doctor, I'm often showing you guys the health and resistance and weakness, and we examine the crypto as such. Okay, so this is a downward area. I do want to check to see if there's another angle here at work, but right now, the big ones we were looking for last was this weakness here, which happened at that price. We had a parabolic that seemed to be acting like this, and we can stretch that out now since it's all fulfilled and completed. We're going to duplicate this parabolic to get a more accurate curvature of the bottom. And to do that, we're just going to take the angle and move it straight down to the lower side. We're going to bring it to the core, and then we're going to bring it to the wick, And it looks like the wick's the one that's matching and hitting, so we're probably going to use that angle, but let me make sure that this is lined up. It is not. Move it to the left. It is lined up. And then I'll put the wick back in place. No response. Core has it. So therefore I'm going to be looking at the core area. Now this line was already cracked, so we were looking for this. I last put this big red X here. And that big red X told me that this angle was already cracked. And when I see angles that are cracked and they come back up, if there's more weakness that still reveals, the next time we challenge those angles, they're not scared of them anymore. So basically what that means in our previous video is once we start showing signs of weakness, if we ever do come back up and come and challenge it again downward, they're not going to be looking for this as a support. Okay, we're going to say that the line is cracked and weakness will be revealed. So this would be like a road that allows for water to flow only one way, or a path traffic to flow one way. Like Tesla's water, he invented a little nozzle that allows the water to go only one direction, and without any backfire. So that's how that works in real life. Let's now, we only need about one of these, so I'll use that one and we'll use green. I'm going to fade some of this line away. We are going to draw one more thing about this crypto. And what I'm going to be looking for is possible flat. To find a flat, I'm all over the place, right? Let's hide our lines real quick. And I'm all over the place when it comes to the support. So there's a way to fix that, and I'm going to show you how to fix it. So first, let's identify the problem so you can see what I'm trying to solve as a solution. Okay. I think there's a flat somewhere in here. Okay. But if I can't draw it here at the core, maybe. Okay. If I can't draw it here at the wick, and possibly here, how can I get a more accurate view of whatever the flat should be? How can I do that? If you were paying attention earlier in class, you're going to know the answer because I revealed the answer earlier today. What type of analysis can we use within our art to find the more proper, correct price for the flat? And therefore, with that, a better possible entry, exit, and so forth and so on. What type of analysis might we want to use to solve this particular equation? What's the point of having this if I turned off the power? Nobody know the answer? Hey, there's one particular answer on our lessons page. Nope. There's one type of analysis that lets us do and solve this. Not volume, not mixed phantom, not reverberation, not tiger, not thunder, not sword cut, not step ups, not hidden valor. Ah, there it is. Core cluster. Okay, from our July 31st, 2024 module, core cluster. Core cluster, we did that earlier in the video, and I showed you on USTC. Now we're going to do this here. The procedure for doing core cluster, when we have core clusters that are all over the place, or cores and wicks that are all over the place, we're going to simply go to the higher time frame and try to mark where we start seeing them be together. Let's just do one real quick. I'm going to take a bunch of price notes and put them at the various areas. Oh, I can't really do that here, but I will go to the higher time frame. I just don't want to mark all over my chart. So we were at a weekly chart. Now we go to a 2-week chart, and we start seeing that things are looking a little bit more smooth, aren't they? Let's go to now a 2-week chart. We're going to go to a monthly chart. All right. Is the picture starting to come together now? Possibly. Let's draw a flat now and see where we're at. Got some wicks matching some of these. Still not really, but are we messy even on the monthly chart? Yes. Let's go now to a 2-month chart and see if we have now our answer. What do you think? Now, how do we know to go to a higher time frame? If the smaller charts are still messy, keep going to your high level chart. If this is a monthly chart and it's still messy, we'll go to a higher target. We just need to keep seeing if they make sense. This is not one that most people will catch. But I'm going to say to you, it's probably right. What if our flat is actually somewhere between here and here? The core is here and here. Then if I pull up price, what might this candle be revealing so far for this month with 12 days left to go? What might we actually be looking at here then? What is this candle possibly revealing to us? Somebody give me the answer. What observations do we make about that candle? That's right, Armin. That's right, Bridget. It moved into weakness. It's possibly weak. It's not closed yet. We still got 12 days before this 2-month cycle will end. So every 2 months, another candle is born. So we're going to put 2-month chart. Every 2 months, another candle is created in the cycle. So this candle's been for 2 months. But we can see overall that's where the larger flat is. And it's not looking good. Now, can we confirm, or are we just making this flat up? Is there a way to confirm the flat? How can we confirm the flat? What's the answer? How do I solve that equation? That's right, iPad. We duplicate it, we place it on top. Okay? And you can't see what he's drawing on my chart, but he's drawing the same flat on top. Okay? That's how you do it. You treat it like a key angle, and you draw the phantom, okay, in the upper energy centers. So here's the lower energy centers, here's the upper one, and look, here is verification, okay? So this is going to be our verification. Exactly where it should, right there. Remember, I didn't draw it from there, I drew it from here, based on some of that, okay? This may not be so much verification. However, if we take the wicks and wick match, maybe we're getting some other verification somewhere around there. Okay. In either case, it's showing that flats are active on top and possibly on bottom. Is it messy? Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but it's possibly a big clue about what's happening. In my opinion, it's possibly exactly what we should be thinking. So therefore, this is a clue that weakness is possibly appearing. Confirm in 12 days. Okay, which is really 13 days. Okay, so at the end of the month, we can take a look at this chart again and see where we're at with GALA. And if it looks like this, that's going to be negative. If it still holds on, that might be good. Now there's one more way we can confirm what we're looking at, and that is the volume. We can be looking at the volume in the micro analysis, and that's to say we're looking relationally at these points. If we see an increase at volume, it's almost more certain we're going to be coming down, okay, with a higher degree of confidence. And let's see, and remember, we put more weight on that when there's buying in the background. So at these lows, I'm going to couple these together since they're both touching this bottom. 1, 2, then we challenged again, then there was some low volume but aggregately high. Then we challenged again, very low volume, but the move up still had a lot of high volume. Okay. Very low volume here. That's hard to tell because it's all in a row. Maybe I'm going to use a smaller time frame for this. Yeah, that's better. Okay, I don't see any major buying here, but we do see a lot of major heavy selling, and that also isn't like a type of opposition of force. On the up bars, we see strong up moves followed by moves to the right and down. So if there's still a lot of selling pressure, then the lack of buying is not going to be able to withstand or resist against that selling. So if this is being actively dumped in a heavy way at the tops, it's not going to be able to overcome. Plus, without the lack of buying in the background, it's not going to be something I'm going to be just only using that analysis for. So I'm going to say because of the heavy selling that may be happening, it's still active, and again possibly showing this one. Okay, I don't really trust it to hold on in this area. I think it's going to come down. If possible, I might be looking to short it in July. I'm going to set an alarm for myself. Remind me July 1st to look to possibly short GALA. Okay, I set a reminder for myself on my phone /iPad. Okay, now let's go to any other questions regarding GALA, my opinion on GALA. We saw weakness before, we saw weakness again, and today's session we still see weakness. Okay, so I'm going to say look for it to fall. Let's see how much money is on the table. We might look for it to fall from current price around 84%. Ugh, what a blow. You're going to see some people lose some money on this one if they're in a GALA position. You probably want to, if you get that more at the end of the month, you probably want to decrease your GALA, in my opinion. Okay. All right. Let's finish up our last crypto for today. So that doesn't appear to be that we have any more questions. ZBCN. ZBCN has hit our DP projection, Zip network, ZBEC network, accurately, 070. We looked at this in May and March. In March, we said that, see today's video, possible accumulation campaign beginning. Here was in March, back here, okay. We were looking for this money to be coming into this crypto. We were looking that buying was coming into this crypto. We were seeing some increases in volume on the down moves. We'd have to watch the video to get a full thing, but we wrote down some notes here. Some professional buying, too much supply, look for lower prices here on this day, and we challenged those again back here on April 21st. Okay, the move moved into health approximately here. That's when the health moved based on this down move. If you continue it out, it's approximately April 27th. We had our flat top somewhere around 002, and then we drew a DP projection somewhere up here based on that measurement. And all we were doing was taking the oscillation and duplicating the oscillation out and to the right and marking the place on our map where we should be looking to get to. Okay, this is a perfect example of DP projection. I'm going to put in my notes, so I can add this to my manuscript, by the way. Our book, I want to break this down. Let me just add a little text from my record. It's nice to have some really accurate records teaching you some of these principles. DP projection example should be May 5th. 2025. See May 5th, 2025. This is just for my sake, so when I type in going through my charts, I can quickly find the ways where I put examples. Okay, so we looked for in our previous chart, we gave you a few hypotheticals. You can tell when it's a hypothetical because I don't draw the official line, but this is where we drew our next event line. So this is going to be event line analysis, and I'll show you how to do it real quick. Let me just see my final comments that I put in April. After performing micro VSA analysis on the current oscillation between the blue area, I can see the volume showing that there may be a breakout to the bullish side on the weekly chart. I would also be looking for this to move higher. Okay. All right, so that's already done. Okay, so that was in May that we made that. Now let me pull up my previous image, because I think we did this about 2 weeks ago, and I want to see how long ago we did it and any other commentary I may have wrote about it. ZBCN. Okay, so yeah, we had that one. It's different crypto. Okay, so we saw some accumulation. Okay, then I had another one. see all. Okay. No, I wanted this image. I wanted to find that image. Okay, that's fine. Well, this is live. This is a daily chart. Okay, so if hypothetically, in our previous video, we were expecting, I'm going to draw these today. We're going to replicate them to help you understand a very important principle, to help you see weakness in real time. If you're going up and you have your foundational areas, you have your energy centers on the bottom, okay, the centers of these energies, and we can track now the angle which we're looking for weakness to start appearing. If weakness starts appearing either by phasing through, which is the lack of the bounce, okay, so if we don't get this bounce here, we were supposed to go up, but that did not happen. Okay, we're phasing through, and therefore, because of the phase, we're phasing through that line. Just the mere fact of price moving through this line is a type of weakness marker. So it lets us know that something's wrong. We're supposed to bounce and continue higher. If that doesn't happen, as we say in lesson number 1, what happens at price, important price areas, and what doesn't happen at very important price areas is just as important. Okay, so what happens and what doesn't happen. If you're in a relationship and you're with the guy and the guy's saying he's not doing the things he's supposed to do. He looks good, but he's not doing the basics. That's a time. You can ignore it. He didn't do anything bad. He didn't beat me. But he's not opening the door for me, or he's not saying anything nice to me. But he didn't say anything bad. You can ignore those, but what he doesn't say is also just a clue. All right, tells you about his responsibility, how he treats his mother. If he doesn't treat his mother at all good, then you can be like, something's off. And you do the same thing with relationships, men, women, and you also do it with crypto. We're going to now look for the event angle. If this were to fall through into weakness, we have to calculate for the event. The event line is the previous event, the last big energy centers, the last big event that happens before the weakness. Now here's the crazy thing. You don't have to wait for the weakness to appear before you can calculate the event line, as you saw from the previous images. Those highlights I gave you from our previous class showed you in advance the weakness. I even put one on here, hypothetically. And it happened. And now here we are, and it's happening. Okay, we already got our first close into weakness, so we already know that weakness is confirmed, at least on the daily chart. But now we're going to show you how you confirm those further weaknesses. Okay, here's how you do it. Once you have your up move, try to draw the angle of the up move. Okay, it's going to look like this. In my first year, I would always call these the clocks. So if I got an angle like this, is going to be my, in this case, event angle. Now I have an energy center 1, energy center number 2, if I just going to give it a label. And what I do is I take that in the third energy center, which is between here. Okay? It's going to be the lowest center between these two events. If you don't have one, generally you're going to use the adjacent, which is the previous ones to the left or to the right. But right now we have it, so it's super easy. All you do now is you take that angle and it reveals the first weakness. It's here. Okay. The truth is, for this to show signs of slowing, for this to not bounce here and not go up here was the first sign that something was wrong. We were supposed to bounce here. If we were drawing circles, it would look like this. We already drew the circle for the weakness. But that was our first big clue that something was wrong. When we phased through there, it was like, oh, maybe it's slowing down. Maybe it needs a longer break than we need. Okay? These areas can reveal even more truth. I'll show you. So this would be, if we're going to give this a label, this would be our event angle. And this would be our phantom event angle, or our what we call event line. Okay, whatever you want to call it, it's the same principle of the key angles over and over. When I first started, all I had was key angles, and each one of those corresponded to an additional angle. Okay, 1, 2, and yes, they overlap. The trick is to see all of them in sequence. Okay, so I'm showing you how to break this apart using just these energy centers. So again, this was a sign of weakness appearing, and it was manifest here. The next weakness is here because of this. Now, I will tell you the next resistance can be based on the sword cut, which is what our net method is named after, on where we cross over. The candle that we cross over creates the sword cut area. What's this there for? That's verification. This is price responding to the sword cut. Okay? So there should be weakness here. Now, if there's another sword cut, where will it be? The next sword cut will be here. Because of that. The larger angle will be cut here. So therefore the next sword cut here. So the fact that price is bouncing or receiving the sword cut is also a sign of weakness. Now, one of the ways we can also use to and look for some verification is to see high volume on this bar right there. If I'm seeing high volume here at the area of weakness, that's the best time to sell it. That's the dumping. That's basically all you got before you can start going down. If it's a heavy selling area, so we might see selling back here, high volume bars up here, and high volume bars up here. We can also see a pushing there, and they're basically going to be grouped into the same category. Now, I don't know if we'll see that, but let's take a look, and maybe it's going to give us another clue. So again, we're breaking this down in a very strong way since it's Wednesday. So I'm going to pull up the volume for June 16th and look to see if it's high. And is it high for June 16th? You tell me. It's aggregately high. Okay? For that day. Got it? The symbol we draw for aggregately high volume is this symbol. So this is aggregately high. All right. Now, so I'm not looking at something that's good then at the moment. Again, just to draw those a little bit more professionally, the angle, duplicate the angle, weakness revealed. Underneath that one, okay? That's where the angle is. Then we can draw the sword cut based on that area if we wanted to. Then we're going to now draw the sword cut based on the second area, which is our main break. We cross over the candles approximately here, and those I will give you. 0.04511 to 0.00411. Okay. I hope this keeps you out of some trouble when you can start seeing the weakness for yourself. You're saying, Song, I think it's going to go up even more. Okay, if it's going to go up, I'm going to show you two more things. Number one, if it's going to go up, you're going to need to go up on a parabolic curve. Okay, I'm going to go to a 6-hour chart to give me some more candles to show you what I'm looking at. Let's maybe a 12-hour. Sorry, that would be good. What type of breakout might I be looking for? Let's see if you guys can catch it. Okay, show me where the health is on this chart based on this move, based on the last data. Where is the health? Somebody draw it on my screen live. So you guys know, if you're going to buy it, I'm going to show you where to buy it. Otherwise, leave it alone. Okay, but there's two places that might be where there's health. Good job, iPad. I knew I could count on somebody here to get it. Did you see what he's drawing? It's parabolic. It's exactly right, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but this is what I see. Okay. He drew the parabolic. That's how I see it as well. It levels out, so therefore a smaller health needs to be at least up here. right there, which means we want to see price plane. If I'm going to draw this as a picture, I'm going to draw something like this. Okay. I'd want to see price bouncing there. Other than that, this is weak, this is weak, that's a small health area. Okay. Right now, we're more in the territory we're going to fall. If I duplicate, this should be a support. So another weakness could be actually there. Okay. If we duplicate that parabolic and bring it to the lower side, it's going to be there. So if I see confirmation, if I want to know confirmation this is falling, in real time, you guys can find just whatever price that is and use that as a secondary sell. If you were shorting, you want to short at the higher prices, then short again here, and then exit at there, at the lower prices. You guys can do things like that if you wanted to. But right now, I'm just showing you in slow motion how price moves. It's not all random. It's not really random. It's based on its own structures. It's like boxing. It telegraphs what it's going to do if the boxer's a poor boxer. It's often like a poor boxer. Okay? You get the feel for it. All right. Now, with that said, where is the next health and weakness on this chart? We already know one's here. Where's the next weakness? Let's see if you guys can apply what we learned today. Somebody draw for me the next weakness on this chart. See if you can catch it. I know you can. Apply what I taught you today. While I eat this cookie. What time is it? Somebody draw where the weakness will be. I don't see anybody drawing anything. See if you can catch it. Without targeting system. Okay, maybe a flat there. Good. Don't mind if we want. Somebody's drawing a flat. Maybe a flat here, especially since flats are working. So maybe that's a flat. This also happens to be halfway between, this also just happens to be halfway in between these two areas here and here. All right, so that might be a mid-phantom flat. That could be good. Where is another weakness? Let's use that circle. Okay, that's a good one. And in addition to that, it's also that leveled out parabolic. It's on the bottom side, right? Somewhere about there. There's another big one. And I want to see if you can catch it. I don't want to give you all the answers first without you trying. There's a big answer. Think about what I taught you before about the break into weakness. It's a little further out in the future, but you'll know where it's a big weakness. It's further out in the future. Let's see if you can catch it. I'll give you 10 more seconds. And then I'm going to give you the answers. Let's go back to a daily chart. Maybe you can see from there. Okay. All right. I'll give you the answer. Let's hide our line. Let's draw my energy centers here. Where's the energy centers on this chart? Let's draw them. The big ones. Somebody draw my big energy centers on this chart. One day this will be the difference between millions of dollars. Yeah. Okay. iPad's drawing some. Good. All right, let's see how well he did. What do you guys, do you agree? He drew one here. Drew one here. Drew one here. Yeah? Or maybe here. I agree. We don't want to draw one here, although it might be a small energy center because the price is still in, that's where we're at right now. But we do have this one. What can we do with the upper energy centers? What can I do with these upper energy centers? Good. He drew this angle. So therefore, when he drew that angle, the next thing he did was he drew, this was our key angle, he drew the phantom, and he drew the phantom on the bottom. Should I draw it here, or should I draw it here? Which one? Here or here? One or two? What do you think?
The bottom one.
The bottom one? Come. Who thinks one? Who thinks two? Who thinks something else?
Number 1.
Number 1? Okay, we got some for number 1. Anyone else? 1, 2, 1 or 2. Where would we probably want to draw it? Okay. Somebody drew a round action. Would you agree that this is probably round action here? Come.
Yes. Looks like it to me.
It looks like it to me too. What might this be if this is the real meaty part? What might this be? HB. That's right. From, if you guys want to and you don't and you haven't already, on our lessons page, one of our very first lessons is called HB, our hidden battler. Should be flats, no, lesson number 7. It's an advanced type of analysis where we draw a flat, or it's in our flats unit, that's where I included it, called hidden battler, and it teaches you how to search for that kind of stuff. Okay, but yes, that's basically it. The answer is you may want to search and draw your angle there. You don't have to, but you may want to draw it at both areas rather than just one. Okay. So once you have your angle, okay, what color did we use a little while ago? Let's just use pink. All right. Once we have our angle, we may want to place it here, but also here. When in doubt, just draw it as a range. Got it? Okay. Looks like Donkey Kong, right? The Mario, the Donkey Kong's up there throwing the barrels down. The old one. Okay, so that might be HB. And is it fulfilled? Possibly already fulfilled. We would just look for a flat. It's not that I have to do the full HB analysis. Yeah, it's already fulfilled. We just need to see it fulfilled forward or backwards. Since it's already fulfilled, we are going to just be looking for the meaty part, since there's where the bulk of the round action may be, rather than maybe the exception to the rules. Okay? So therefore, I'm going to be looking both this price and maybe that price, if that happens. But in any case, the weakness is, a weakness could possibly appear here. And that's very wonderful to have. It's very far away from where we're at right now. Price can drift to the side, it can fall, and then come down here, and then that could be the case. We can never see it. But it's something we would want to know. If I did the target system from here to the bottom, which is the farthest one out, I'll probably just use that one if I was measuring, and I see this overlaps maybe one of these, it will let me know now time and price. And we can do that real quick. So I want to leave this image just to keep training your mind to see these. Okay, so you can see where that goes. Okay. So you know what type of things you should be looking for when you see them. Alright, now let's go to draw that professional now. We're going to draw that angle. I'll use the same color I just drew. That pink. Make it thick, and then I'm going to clone this out. We're going to put it about the meaty place, which is about right there. And then I'm going to do one more about right there. Okay, so now I have some prices down around 0.001 cents. Current price is 0.04, and this might be lower. Now they don't need to be so big, so shrink these up, maybe size 16. I don't need them taking up so much of my chart real estate. Okay, we'll put a weakness underneath there. So this is how we can start calculating years out, even months, which is why we were so accurate with USTC and things like that. Okay, earlier in our video from 2023, we were tracking those numbers very accurately based on the same principles we're doing here. Okay. So now we can start looking at those weaknesses. Let's go to the target system. And again, we're going to use the farthest out. Right now, since I'm only using this, I'm just going to go out to here. But you could technically go that far if you really wanted to. But for right now, I'm just going to use our since that's an energy center based on this, I'm going to only use the farthest one out. So I'm going to use our fixed range volume profile, and about right there, I'm going to go up to the top, to the last place before we drop, and here's our targets. Let's draw them together. Our big swings, I'm going to have this as a target. We'll put them in our target color. I got another target up here, and then a smaller one here. And that will be enough for right now. I think the others are, oh, this one's working in against our favor up here. That's going to be a good thing for price. Okay, of those targets, I will just show you where I drew mine. And let's delete this and now move them aside. So our first target up here, the one that's working against price, oops, don't want to stretch it out, is above price right now. So I might want to keep that on the board, although I don't think it's going to be hit anytime just recently. The next one is going to be down here, which is about where the leveled out parabolic is going to overlap. There it goes. Based on cores and maybe wicks, somewhere about the high side. Okay, and then finally the last two are going to intercept this area around here, and now we have a vortex of around July of this year. July 12th to July 26th. And if we're getting and building below there, then we can start thinking about that. But right now, these are going to be where we're looking. So the flat area might be a very good target if things go sour for this. And again, that flat is the old flat. Okay, so I would say if I'm going to draw some places, I'm going to turn on a weekly chart just to simplify the candles. And this is how I would draw my conclusion. I would be looking here on the lower side. So I'm going to put a star there. Okay. I would also be looking on the higher side here. So I'll put a star there. Throw a pink star. Okay. And therefore, this would be more signs of weakness. And if I'm going to buy anywhere and pay a price, I'm probably going to be looking to pay that flat price there, whatever price that's going to be. So that's how I'll conclude those major important areas. So now let's go to a smaller time frame and see if we can just mark that down for you. Let's go to a 2-day chart. And how I'm going to denote this is I'll put maybe a white line somewhere on the highlight where I'm looking at, and I'll type the price 0.0041. Sound good. 413. And then I'll put another white band around where I'm looking at. These overlap somewhere about right there, so that's where I'm going to be thinking on the low side. And I have a lesson like that in our sword method 7.0. I've talked about it in lots of videos, but if you're trying to understand whether you're looking conservative or liberal and you want to know how to do it, if you do a target, your range is going to be thick, right? So we are like, we got these prices and we got those prices. So which one do we use? We use the one where there's most confluence or most grouping, okay? In this case, because we have an old flat with a range here, between these areas, we're going to use the one where they overlap the most. This is how we were able to track a few important bottoms over the past few years. Now we get closer to those vortexes again. They're somewhere in July, around July 7th. Okay. So somewhere around those. And so that's how we're going to do it. Now, I'm not going to use this image because I need to update the price. But that price is going to be, for this one, 00237. And I think that's about going to conclude for today what I'm looking at. Does anybody have any final questions or comments regarding ZBCN? Okay.
Yeah, could you look at the mid phantom based on the lower phantom angle? and see if it confirms it.
You said look at the what phantom?
The mid-phantom. Based on that lower phantom angle.
Oh, in pink?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
the lower one.
Okay.
I think.
Yep.
Might,
Let's draw a mid-phantom based on the lower one. It would be about right there. Okay, let me hide this one for right now just to help my eyes. This should be 50%. I think this needs to come down maybe a little more. I'll measure it. Yeah, this needs to come up a little bit. Yeah, based on the lower, that's about right. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. It's about right there. We do have some verification for that. And let me see if there's any more. Maybe step up in the past here. And maybe step ups back here based on this one. If we cross that back over for those of you who know about my step ups. And that's all I got. The other thing we got is the actual angle itself, which is possibly this area and possibly that area. So this is an MP, or mid-phantom. This would be our key angle, and that would be a phantom angle. So this could reveal another sign of weakness or the health, but you'll be the first to know it. So if we do get a bounce, he'd be here. So therefore, this area is dangerous for me to trade. I'm still going to be looking at the larger story of the weakness that's here. So I'm going to not be in the camp where I'm not looking for a real big bounce at the moment. I don't mind paying the higher price for that security before having it. I really want to see this probably more weakness come into play. Based on that, then we'll see this number crack. And then we'll see the 237 number. So that's 0.00214, somewhere around there. I need to clear this up. Let's try that again. These numbers are overlapping. Yeah, there we go. That's better. All right, thank you, Armin. Any other questions, comments regarding what I'm looking at right now? Okay. I will set an alarm for myself. And that will be it. Let's make this real thin. Alarm. I'm going to set it at this white area. ZBCN, possibly at lower entry price or pullback area / exit short. Okay, so if I'm in any shorts based on there, I want to make sure they're closed here. Let price decide what it's going to do, if it's going to bounce back or continue further into the weakness. If it's in the weakness, we're going to look to come down here. Yeah. Current price 0.004. Is the price at the top white line correct? Bridget, can you show me this one? That one 00413? Yeah, that one's... Wait, it's not correct. It is not. Why is that not? 0034. Gotta draw again. 0.0033, closer to that, yeah. Bridget, thank you very much. Thanks for nothing. Now I gotta draw again. I'm just kidding. Praise God. Help me save face. Giving you guys wrong numbers. See, draw them yourself so you guys don't mess up. Okay, the lower one's correct. Alright, we'll use that one. Any other questions? Bridget's only allowed one correction of me a day. My pride can only take one of it. I'm just kidding. Be not prideful. Humble yourself. Okay. Hey Jasong, wonder if you're still bullish XOR. I won't look at XOR today anymore. I'm not going to look at any more cryptos today, but I haven't been I haven't been bullish in XOR in a long time, for months, since they told me that they continued the printing of XOR. So I haven't I changed my views a few months back on XOR. So just see my other videos on XOR, and when it was delisted, I don't trust it a lot. I do know there was some up moves on it, but I still didn't trust it after that. Anytime they have a printing mechanic where they can change it on the back end, I'm out. Even if there's accumulation, it's too manipulated for somebody to actually be consistent with it. Like, they were delisting it from all these exchanges. I even have XOR that I couldn't even trade anymore. So, yeah, I leave it alone. But I'm asked, and it's not even on TradingView. From last I checked, we have to keep using other charts. So you have to do it manually. You have to go on like Dex Tools or something. Okay. Anyone else? Other cryptos? Okay. Other cryptos? Questions? Comments? Okay. Before we end our video today.
Yeah, so I have a question for the group. It has to do with putting high sell orders and low buy orders, and using a variety of different mechanisms. Some people are going to different exchanges, and that's one. Then another option is to use different stable coins, and I don't fully understand that. I know Uphold, most of my funds there seem to be held in US dollars, and most of their pricing is in US dollars, similar to Coinbase. They seem to price everything in US dollars. But then I discovered that you can actually place an order to use USDT to buy on Uphold or sell, and you can place an order to use USDC, and you can even do it with that Ripple RLDT or whatever it's called, stable coin. But they never price them. You don't see the price very seldom in USDC, or very seldom, I've never seen one priced in the Ripple stable coin. But you can place an order on Uphold at least. And I was even thinking, why don't I place an order in euros or some other currency? I don't know if would that help me to diversify these low and high buy orders and sell orders? I don't know if anyone has any insight to that.
Anyone?
Throw it out there because it's interesting. I don't know if it actually works, but I placed a few orders on Uphold with that concept, but you never see the cryptos priced in those USDC or the Ripple stable coin, but I placed them. Maybe there's something there. And I was even thinking, maybe I may even try to do it in Japanese yen or something. I don't know if Uphold actually looks internationally, or are they just looking, they're all over the world, Uphold. And so it's Coinbase. Anyway, I throw that out there, not knowing what it means, but something that I'm exploring.
You might find some success, especially if there's stuff that goes awry with the dollar, on the manipulation that may be happening, or the destabilization of the dollar of any type due to glitches, hacks, exposure of government, things changing overnight. I would say if you're inclined to try it, it probably won't hurt if you have other currencies to fulfill your orders in. Carrie,
yeah.
Question for Armin, comment for him or for the group?
I have some low buy orders in Euro, one other currency, but because TC years ago said that might be a good idea, so I did it, but now I regret it because the prophecies that have come out since then say that the Euro and Japan's economy will probably go first. The dollar will follow.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. I did an analysis of weakness on the euro months back, where I saw weakness in the euro. Here we did our target system, 2 targets. It looks like our 110 number was hit, then we bounced up after that. We need to do some further analysis in the future of the euro, and especially based on the straits and the foundational areas here, But in the future, if this just doesn't do anything, it continues, a weakness may be revealed here, and we'll be coming back down to some of the lower levels. And so that could actually be in alignment with maybe some of those timings. We'll have to take a look at some of the euro to see. But yeah, any more thoughts, Carrie, regarding that situation?
That's all I got.
Okay, wonderful. All right, anyone else for me before we end the video? I won't look at any more cryptos, but we'll be back on Saturday. If you have a request, go ahead and put it in our Patreon. Just message us on Patreon, and Melody will see it, and she'll add it to the list for Saturday. Okay, going once for me. Going twice for me. All right. Thank you, everybody who joined us for our WordRoom, our daily reading today. And I know it's early for some of you U.S. people, but it's also late for some people around the world and early for some of them at other times during the week. I tried to have an early session on Wednesdays to accommodate for people from around the world. Thank you guys for supporting us. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May He make His face to shine upon you. May He look upon you with favor. May He be abounding to you with grace. Be gracious unto you. May He lift up His countenance toward you and give you peace in all the senses of the word. We love you, Lord. You've been a great God to us. Put your favor upon us everywhere we go, when we come in, when we go out. Protect our children. Put the blood of the Lamb on the doors of our home, the doors of our hearts, and on our foreheads. Seal us. We love you. You're the best part of our life, and you're the biggest part of our life. Put your fire upon your people. Minister to them. Give them your holy flame. Fill them with your Spirit. Give them great confidence in the Spirit. Let them overcome every enemy, as it says in Revelation, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And may by their testimony they overcome the enemy. Thank you that the enemy, the accuser of the brethren, stands cast out, and we have faith in the Messiah. We love you, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. God bless you, team. Have a great day.
All right.
Bye. Take care, my friends.